Hey guys, Anthony Santo from myrecordinginternship.com, and today we are going to go over some 80s style percussion that we put into a really cool pop song. I have a pop rock band in the studio, and we wanted to do kind of a throwback song. We wanted to include some sort of throwback feel. So the throwback feel that we did was more of the, Prince or Michael Jackson breathiness that they would throw in their songs, the panting and so on that they'd put in there. We did a lot of other stuff too. I'll play a little bit of it because you'll actually hear some of the other production that went on, including some pads that are really 80s oriented and so on, classic sounding pads and everything like that. But what we're going to do is actually create the vocal percussion here from scratch so that you can include it in some of your recordings. All right, so first I'll just show you what the song kind of sounds like and what this vocal percussion does in it. Cool. So you see how it accents on the snare drums and we lead up to it with a pant. So we kind of just are playing with the ears as much as possible, and I made it as stereo and wide as possible so we really get a nice thick sound around those drums. So here's what we did. First we put the singer in there and asked him to do two different things. One, a take of panting, and one, a take of heavy breathe out ahs. So here's what that sounds like. There's just panting, and there are the ahs. So those two things alone, they sound kind of dry. It doesn't really do anything for the beat until we actually get that stereo width going, and we get a lot of really nice reverb and just a little bit of delay on that to make it actually fit in with the beat and act almost like a reverb for the snare on those snare hits that it comes down with. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is make another track here. I'm just going to duplicate. All right, I'm not duplicating the playlist. I don't need that. I don't want to at any point take the same take and put it down right over here and split them out. That's not going to work. If you don't understand why it doesn't work, I will link a video that shows you how that causes phase and how that's going to be a big problem for you. So what we need to do is find 3 pants that we like and another 3 pants that we like and put them together on different tracks. So the first 3 look good to me, and you can actually tell, you can see where they are. And if you go through this and you have some trouble, what you could do is get into your elastic audio. You could go monophonic and just go ahead and stretch this out so that it's right down on the beats. But this singer was pretty skilled at doing this. He's pretty much on, and I think we're going to be good with that. So I'm going to take the first 3, and I'm going to skip this one that's a little bit off, and I'm going to take the next 3. Now I'll copy that and I'll paste it here. You could do that by pressing Command C and Command V. Make sure you're in grid mode. I'm in relative grid. You could be in any grid at this point for what we're doing. Make sure you're in grid mode when you do this so that you don't align it improperly. Now what we have is a stereo of those 3 pans. Okay, perfect. Now we're at the first point that we need to be, and we're going to get our ahs in order. So we have 2 ahs here. So we'll grab the second one. We'll put it where the first one is. Remember, copy and paste, real simple. And I'm going to take that, and I'm going to put it right after the pants. Okay, but now how do we spice this up and make it sound interesting? You'll see on my other tracks that I have several things going on here, but what's really important is your reverb. That's really number 1. So my EQ tracks, I EQ'd for the vocal to make it sound better. I've went over EQ so many times, I'm not going to just do it on this track. We can go to other videos and talk about the EQ itself, but we'll just put those EQs on. Just drag them over. So we EQ just to help the vocal out, cut some of the bottom. We sweep for ranges that are a little rough, bring them down a little, and so on. And next we're going to compress. Now compression actually does matter quite a bit here. So as we compress these guys, what I want to happen is for the panting to get louder. I don't want the panting to be so much quieter than the big breathe out that it gets lost. So I will compress quite a bit here. And you see my ratio of 6:1. So you see the gain reduction kind of hitting hard. That does help this stand out. And that's really important about the panting part. Okay, so we have those in there. Now, the fun part. I'm going to just use deverb for this sort of thing. It works perfectly for this sort of thing. I put it in a church, so that's your second one. You have hall and then church. I put it in church. I made the church large, but what I really did is I took the pre-delay down a whole ton and just used basically everything else they had except making some moves to the high frequency cut and so on. But you want to get the pre-delay down, otherwise you have some weird effects going on. Like that sort of thing. We don't want that sort of thing going on. Let's just get it all the way down. That's perfect. There's no like doubling of it. We could go and make that sound if we want with a delay, if we want to have that like bounce out sound. I don't want that for this, so I took out the pre-delay completely. And we'll put that on both the tracks. Now next, I did want a little delay, so I included a regular mod delay. So this delay was set to eighth notes. I have it just lightly in there, 8%. I have my feedback blasted, so maybe you could hear it more than once, but it's very light. It's just to kind of add into that reverb, make that reverb not stick out so much, make it that it gets to wash in with a little bit of delay as well. So you get to your final product, and you have, we'll put that right around the song now. I'll mute out the originals. And that's that. Now you have another cool production technique to use in your stuff. Please let me know if this one helped you out, and I will see you guys on the next one.